Has Kreator finally gone too far from their thrash roots, or have they perfected the sound they've been building toward for decades? That's the question I want to answer by the end of this video, because Krushers of the World is not just another Kreator album. It's a statement about who this band is in 2026, more than 40 years into their career. When I was in high school and first getting into heavy metal, my thrash world was very American. Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax. That was my universe. I remember a classmate mentioning the name Kreator once or twice, but I never actually checked them out back then. Fast forward many years, about 10 years ago, I finally started digging into their catalog. I went back to their 80s material. Some of my favorites are albums like Extreme Aggression, and I spent time with their more modern releases. What really stood out to me is how different the band sounded across the different decades. Early Kreator was extreme, raw, and violent thrash. Modern Kreator, on the other hand, is far more melodic, more cinematic, and honestly more ambitious. To me, their current sound feels like a hybrid between thrash metal and melodic death metal. And Krushers of the World feels like the band fully leaning into that identity. Krushers of the World is Kreator's 16th studio album, released on January 16, 2026 through Nuclear Blast Records. It follows Hate Uber Alles from 2022 and also serves as a celebration of more than 40 years of Kreator as a band. The lineup remains solid and familiar. Yli-Sirniö on vocals and guitar, Ventor on drums, Yli-Sirniö on guitar, and Frederic Leclerc on bass. The album was produced by Jans Bogren at Fascination Street Studios, and you can absolutely hear that high-level production throughout the entire record. The artwork, created by Zygmunt Bielack, matches the album's dark, epic, and almost apocalyptic tone perfectly. Musically, the album blends classic Teutonic thrash riffs with modern melodic elements, orchestral layers, choir sections, and very cinematic atmospheres. It's heavier and faster than some of their more recent work, but still very polished and anthemic. Before the album's release, we got several singles that show different sides of the record. Seven Serpents, the lead single, came with a very cinematic music video filled with apocalyptic imagery, biblical symbolism, and dystopian visuals. Seven Serpents represents human vices like hate, arrogance, decay, and death crawling through a collapsing world. It's classic modern Kreator in both sound and theme. Satanic Anarchy leans heavily into horror visuals, with its music video playing homage to Clive Barker's Hellraiser. Yli-Sirniö described as more of an echo than a remake, using the imagery of Cenobites and themes of pleasure, pain, and chaos, without directly referencing the film lyrically. Then there's Tränenpalast, which might be the most artistic and cinematic track on the album. The video pays tribute to Suspiria, both the original and the remake, and even draws inspiration from Goblin's legendary soundtrack work. The song features guest vocals from Britta Gortz of Krushers, which pushed the track even closer to melodic death metal territory. So let's talk about the songs. Seven Serpents opens the album with a melodic intro before exploding into high-speed thrash. The guitar riffs sound exactly like what Kreator has been refining for the past 30 years. Ventor's drumming is powerful with relentless double bass throughout. You also get choir elements that makes the song feel massive and epic. It's a strong opener and one of my favorite tracks on the album. Satanic Anarchy continues with a modern Kreator sound, and Melee sounds excellent here. Chorus is incredibly catchy. Song strikes a great balance between aggression and melody, both instrumentally and vocally. It's heavy, memorable, and very well structured. Krushers of the World, the title track, delivers exactly what you expect: crushing riffs. The pace slows down a bit compared to the opening tracks, but the heaviness is undeniable. The melodic lead guitar adds depth that makes the song stick with you. It feels anthemic without losing its edge. Tränenpalast clearly leans into melodic death metal territory, which makes sense given the guest vocals. To me, it sounds like Kreator meeting Arch Enemy, and that's not a bad thing at all. The atmosphere is dark and emotional, and it's easily one of my favorite songs on the album. These next few tracks are going to be album cuts. So we get to Barbarian, and it brings more of that old school thrash energy while keeping the modern melodic touches. Double bass drumming is some of the best on the album. The breakdown around the 2-minute mark is fantastic, with classic chugging riffs that lead perfectly into the solo. Blood of Our Blood continues the old school thrash vibe with galloping guitar riffs and aggressive vocals. The chorus is melodic, and the solo really stands out. It's a solid, no-nonsense thrash song that still feels modern. Combatants opens with a spooky horror movie synth intro. It sets the mood nicely. The song itself is more mid-paced with melodic thrash riffs and galloping sections. It's atmospheric without being soft. Psychotic Impersonator might be the best representation of classic Kreator, filtered through their modern sound. It starts slow melodic, then launches into a fast galloping thrash riffs with heavy double bass. The choir vocals add another epic layer, and the riffs are incredibly melodic. Death Scream gives you some of the most old school thrash on the album. Mille's opening scream is intense, and there are clear death metal elements, including harsh vocals and low instrumental picking. This was another standout track for me, and one of the more aggressive moments on the record. Loyal to the Grave closes out the album, and they do it with a curveball. The song sounds almost like Iron Maiden, very melodic, very classic metal. I can easily imagine Bruce Dickinson singing this with Millie and vocals. It still feels like Kreator, but I can see this being divisive. It's probably the most commercial sounding track here, and I'm glad it wasn't released as a single. And now for my final thoughts. I think Krushers of the World is going to get mixed reactions, and honestly, that's expected. Some fans are never going to forgive this band for not sounding like Pleasure to Kill anymore. Others might think the album is fine but forgettable, but then there are listeners like me who really enjoy this modern era of Kreator, where melody and thrash coexist instead of competing. For me, the album actually improves on Hate Uber Alles. The songwriting feels tighter, the production is incredible, and the balance between aggression and melody just feels right. So for all those reasons, I'm giving Krushers of the World a 9 out of 10. Now I want to know what you think. Do you think this new era of Kreator, or do you think they've gone too far from their roots? If you want to hear my full thoughts on their previous album, make sure you check out my review of Hate Uber Alles from 2022, which should be appearing on the screen right now. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more rock and metal reviews, and leave a comment below. I read and respond to all of them. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.